morning, delivery fam, and welcome back to another episode of Breakfast with UDM on the Life of a Gig Worker podcast. And this is Tech Talk Tuesdays, but Josh, you have a very interesting topic that, or something you would like to share here, right?
I do. So we got a comment on one of our past videos, and I want to bring that up so I can read it real quick.
Okay.
So this was the video about the AI robots, automation in the food industry, those little two sushi delivering robots. And we were kind of talking about the capabilities of them and where they currently are. So Thomas said, you guys are delusional. You talk about replacing the jobs in the future. Then you go by the capabilities of the current robots. This is like projecting the development of cars. Based on the first bins, cars have changed a lot within a decade, as will robots.
Right.
So I took this as a challenge, and I wanted Thomas to come onto a podcast episode with us. So I'm very excited to introduce Thomas. He has a lot of AI experience, robot experience, and life experience.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and bring him up on the screen.
Hey, Thomas.
Welcome, Thomas.
Hi, I'm sorry, my cat decided right now to at least have a part of the show.
All right. Now, before you guys get into the whole AI conversation, because this is not my area of expertise, okay? I'm just going to be upfront and honest and say this here, right? I want to share this new scam that I stumbled upon, and I wanted to hear how you guys feel about this, because I've never heard anything like this, but even the cop said this is actually smart. But check this out, y'all.
Hey, what's going on, people? So I'm gonna give y'all a heads up what's going on right now. It's like a new scam that's going on. So I just caught wind of it. It's actually pretty smart. Like the scam probably would have got me, or would have got me. It would have happened to me or somebody that I know I'm close to, whatever. But scam is basically, man, if you get like a package in the mail, what the scam is doing, like they're sending like free gifts to people's addresses. I'm saying they might send a package like this from Amazon or whatever like that. It's not going to have a return sender on it, but it's going to have your information, your name, your address on the package, basically on the gift to you, to your residence. So what's going to happen is you're going to get the package, you're going to look at it, you say, oh, okay, someone sent you a gift. It's going to be a QR code on the package or in the package or something like that. You know what I'm saying? And you're going to scan the QR code, and once you scan the QR code, every bit of information in your phone is going to get sent to the scammer. It's going to send in your credit card information, your bank information, your pictures, your phone numbers, your contacts, everything that's in your phone. After you scan that QR code, you know what I'm saying, it's going to get sent to the scammer.
Yeah, when I heard this, I can't even lie. When I heard this, I started thinking about all the times that I received something in the mail from Amazon that I ordered or whatever, and then there was something like some documentation that said, "Hey, register. You use this QR code and whatnot," and then I would go to the website and register and all that, and I'm like, oh my gosh, have I fallen victim to this? You know? So what do y'all think about this scam in this way?
So in my opinion, there's a lot that you can break down within a QR code. And I showed you just how easy I can grab small bits of information just by getting you to go to a website.
Yeah.
So this is basically one and the same. They're just doing a deeper dive than I did. Which is pretty easy and obtainable to do. The only thing that they did was they basically had like a grabber link, and then they had a couple of probing softwares in there to kind of grab information from certain specific locations, like your e-wallet and pretty much everywhere. So there was a lot of information that I could have pulled from you that I did not. So I'm sure you appreciate that part.
I definitely do appreciate that part.
But there's a lot that you can grab from just a simple like grabber link. There's a lot of information. So it is possible, and you should always be careful about what you're scanning and whatnot. And you can always run your QR codes in a sandbox before you before you actually use them on your typical device.
What about you, Thomas?
I'm not so sure how you're supposed to grab the credit cards. Because let me be clear, modern phones have a secure chip and they don't actually hold it in normal memory or on the normal disk. So unless you have it in a file somewhere, if you have it like in Google Pay, it's not going to give them access to your credit card information. Android, at least Android, comes up with a separate UI where you need to confirm the transaction and they handle it in the background. So I doubt the completeness of the scan. But even if you just get contact information, histories, emails, SMS, that's a lot of very crazy shit.
Yeah. So obviously this is one of those. That's why I said, I don't know if I've even fallen victim to this, because I have received packages and then there was like some documentation or a piece of paper that say, hey, register, click here to or scan this QR code to register. And I'm like, did I scan something I wasn't supposed to? It really.
You expect, and there is a QR code for registration in. That's not falling into that scam.
Yeah. So
if you order something on Amazon, you get that in the mail, and then there's an Amazon link or for warranty registration or something. That's obviously not that scam here. It needs to come from a source where you just say, oh, who's sending me a present?
Yeah. And I haven't received one of those, but just thinking like, what if, how they have those disgruntled employees that say they're working for a big company, but they're using that company as a way for them to fly under the radar with their scam, right? Something like that. So even something like that, we would have to be mindful of what we're scanning. But that's why I was feeling like, man, did I scan something? Probably gave up my information somewhere, even coming from Amazon or wherever it came from. And I'm like, oh my gosh, even now I'm more paranoid than I was before when we spoke about the whole grabbing of my information, Josh. So now I'm just like, I don't even want to order anything online anymore. I don't want to do anything. I just want to turn my phone off, get away from all cameras, and just go about my day.
But you're in America, right? Wasn't it just last week that someone just grabbed and stole the whole SSN Social Security number database?
Yep.
Yeah.
What do you expect you're still giving them at this point?
We've already been leaked beyond repair. That's why, like, even here in Florida, I don't know if you've seen the new notification. So the next time you go to renew your driver's license, and every time after that, your driver's license number will be randomized. So you will no longer have the same driver's license number as you did before.
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, and I think they're going to start doing that with Social Security numbers for this particular reason. It was all linked back to the same leak. They're trying to randomize the numbers so that it's harder to identify one specific person off of the identifying document number.
And since you mentioned, Thomas, since you mentioned that we are in America, you're currently in Dubai, correct?
I'm currently resident in Dubai, yes.
Okay.
That comes with as a negative things. For example, I have an app here, which is my official passport, my official UAE pass, where I identify myself in all the government institutions and I can do everything online. For example, I actually last month had to renew my driver's license here and I didn't even go anywhere.
Oh, wow.
I went in, UAE pass, said, okay, with the Minister of Interior, driver's license renewal, good, new picture upload, finished, pay, done, got the driver's license delivered next day.
Okay.
And I only got it delivered because I wanted a physical one.
Okay. All right. So, with all that said, I will hand the mic over to you, Josh, and Thomas. So I don't know much about the tech industry like that. I just look at it from a normal consumer, normal citizen's perspective, and I'm like, oh my gosh, Terminator in 2024. Like that's it for me. Okay, so I will probably just be the third wheel here and just chime in where I see I can possibly ask something, But handing the mic over to you, Josh. Here we go.
All right. So the first video that we're going to have, I believe, is the
Excuse this on the screen.
I believe it's going to be the X1 Neo robot. You guys are going to notice some familiarities that I did, and we'll ask some questions when UDM gets it up on the screen.
All right, don't do me like that.
So this is the 1X Neo Beta humanoid robot, which has been in development for not that long, actually. And they're unveiling just how much mobility and learning it has become over the past couple of months. And I'm going to let Thomas go into a little bit more detail once we finish the video. But go ahead and play the video.
All right, here we go, y'all. Crazy.
So I'm going to include you in this conversation, Brian, because the first thing I thought about when I seen the little wave.
What?
Tell me why I think Amazon would buy this just to be the new Alexa.
Well, the reality is that this was a whole scripted thing. It was basically a demonstration of the new hardware platform, which they say is like a little bit about 50% heavier than the 1X will be. But it's basically what they now plan to put out into a limited number of households. That's actually what separates 1X from everyone else. They don't go for factory, they go for household, because they say if that thing can survive the chaotic environment of a household, it's also usable in a factory.
Yep.
So that makes a lot of sense. And that was mostly a sign of, you see two things in particular. That's a terrific agility in the arms with very good formulated hands. And the second thing, it didn't move. And it didn't move because the training of the legs is actually lagging behind. They say they will fix that in the next months. And they say that they expect it by the end of the year to be able to walk and run like a human. They figured out that in an environment of a household, legs are very important, not only for moving, but in order to get like you need to stand against resistance when you open a fridge, for example.
Yeah.
And that, so you put your legs are part of the whole movement process. The focus is that all the companies so far have tremendously focused on the hands. You now have, from Tesla announced, we're coming now in an update, and from 1X demonstrated here, human level agility in the hands. That's a terrific, crazy level of mechanics. I mean, it's like 25, or Tesla says 27 degrees of freedom. That's a lot of little motors. The hands are among the most complicated extremities we have, and being able to do it so it can basically do everything a human can do. That's a tremendous achievement in robotics.
So when it comes to the question of training, right? So obviously we're going to go into the next video, but when it comes to the question of training, I guess my biggest question here is how many hours goes into training one specific task, such as, obviously you can't just say walking, because walking is a nominal number of tasks, balance and agility and moving. So like, for example, waving of the hand, you stated that it was one of the most finer motor movements. How long did it take them to train the ability to wave with that level of freedom?
I would dare saying that was remote controlled. That was a guy standing somewhere and doing it. We have other videos where you see what I think the AI is, but Google has demonstrated years ago that if you have a proper AI, then it actually is capable of chaining simple atomic operations. So it can incorporate feedback. So it knows, okay, I move my fingers to pick something up. It doesn't really matter what it picks up. It can adjust to it. So I think that people underestimate the amount of intelligence that you have on multiple levels. Look, when you pick something up, you're not thinking about it. So you have one lower AI which does like the hand movement, and then you have a higher level AI which does the more conscious chaining and telling it what to do. And the amount of training which goes into this whole concept is like ridiculous. AIs learn a lot less efficient for now than humans. So we're talking of hundreds of thousands of millions of hours of video training in virtual environments. This is getting a lot better, actually. There's constant progress on actually cracking the mathematics behind these neural networks, because that's the craziest thing with the whole AI, is that we really don't understand how they work. Like we have cavemen warming our hands on a fire and considering whether we could actually boil water with a fire without turning it off. That's the level of intelligence we have right now.
So if we're utilizing AI and we had a collaborative creation, I'll call it, they would be able to collaborate using the research they had and just kind of mash together all of the learning that they've put together within a matter of minutes. Because to my understanding, with the NVIDIA technology and chipsets that we have today, it should be able to process those videos within a matter of minutes if they are pre-recorded, correct?
You underestimate how much videos you have. And Facebook is publishing or has this AI concept, the Llama 3 model. And they're now capable, from the hundreds of thousands of NVIDIA GPUs they have, they are now capable theoretically of retraining the whole Llama 3.5 system in 1 week.
Wow.
That's with hundreds of thousands of GPUs. The amount of data in there is insane. Part of it is, as I said, likely a high inefficiency, but it's the best we have. We basically have to show it a long time until the neural networks form the proper things, and it's really repetitive. It's way less efficient than humans. That being said, we don't really know how efficient humans are, because there is now the research we said that when you sleep, your dreams are actually training phases for your brain.
Interesting. So I want to show the second video, because the second video shows that a task in which the Neo robot has actually been programmed to do. So if we
now, for the sake of the video, just a normal consumer here, guys. I'm not as smart as you two. Okay. All right. I've been kind of like doing a deep dive here as far as like, programming, right? The whole thing about, what we see is not actually happening, but we believe that's actually what's happening, right? Like when you said, Thomas, that you believe the hand wave was someone actually wearing some kind of VR or some kind of bodysuit to control that portion of what the robot was doing. How do I know? Well, I guess we don't know, right? How do I know when they were recording this, the next video that we're going to watch, it wasn't actually someone doing the gesture and controlling that portion of the robot? How do we know, like, oh man, this is actually going to happen in the next few
It's context.
Oh, okay. All right.
The
Well,
first
you win with
now-
that response.
I mean,
as impressive as possible. Here they demonstrate a robot doing a task autonomously. Very often in videos they show you whether it's teleoperated or autonomous, but here it's context. The first is basically a product announcement. When Mercedes shows you the nice car all around, that's not how it drives, that's how it's in a studio. And here it's the same. They wanted to basically show this social interaction level without any words. So that's why I'm saying, why would you train a robot on this waving? Why would it get the idea? It didn't get a command. That looks like a scripted performance with a teleoperated, just to show that this is the robot and we are ready to deliver it.
Okay. All right.
It's a lot of context.
Now, from my experience, you could see difference in latency because if it's been programmed, the movement, the motor movement is going to be a lot more fine versus when you are pretty much wirelessly transmitting or wired transmitting either one from a bodysuit or even just wirelessly with a VR remote control to do the wave motion. You're going to see a little bit of latency between the motor movements. And that's usually just because, if it's not programmed, it has to process, like say I move the remote to the left. There's going to be, say, 3 milliseconds of latency between me moving it to the left and moving it to the right. So you'd be
Okay.
able to see a little bit of latency as well.
Okay. All right. So you guys want to play the second video, correct?
Yep.
Do it.
All right. So let's check this out, y'all. For all the normal people, okay? Don't worry, you're not alone. Okay. All right. So here's this video. I guess let me play it right now.
Now, before we start, I do have one question.
It's muted anyway. So go ahead.
So I do see a tether that is hanging from the ceiling. Is that a tether, like a mobility tether, or is that like a power source?
I personally think if you look, when you later see it moving, you see that it's attached to the back. It looks like it to the clothing. I think it's simply to make sure it doesn't fall over. In particular, I would dare saying they don't want it falling over all the glassware and having to replace it maybe 20 times while they shoot it. You know, we know that the one Neo still has problems with the mobility, and I would dare saying that probably also means with the stability because it can't put the legs in the right position. So they just use the tether to make sure that if it falls, it's not destroying their props.
Okay.
Now, shout out to you, Josh, because I've looked at the thumbnail of this video, and I did not one time see this tether connected to the back. I didn't see it. I'm like, how did you see it? And it's basically your reputation I'm giving a shout out and a salute to about just don't miss shit. Okay. So, all right. So, should I play the video now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yep.
All right. Is the volume down?
Yep, there's no voice on that.
Okay. You know what? Rewind just a little bit. Oh, there's more. Hold on. But what is intriguing to me at this moment is how when it closes the cabinet door, it actually looks in the direction that the cabinet is closing. Like, yeah, got to make sure you're closed. Like, what are you talking about here? Hold on. Look at this. Oh, it's slight, but okay. I see you. What else going on here?
Looks like eggs.
Oh, you're gentle with eggs too, huh? And
Yeah,
that was it.
And that's part of what he was talking about.
Thing people don't realize, they showed it actually for the Tesla. The fingers have full touch sensoric and pressure sensors. They have a very nice way to fake it. Like the fingers are actually deformable plastic with reflective inside. And there's a light strobe and they measure how the plastic deforms. So they know exactly where something touches and how strong it touches. So there's a lot of engineering in it.
Yeah.
And they had Tesla showing like a leg jumping up and down in a stand, and they put a neck below it, and that stops without crushing the leg. That's how fast the feedback loop is.
That's
Now,
crazy.
So there was a lot to unpack there, even in a short video, because Thomas did kind of let us know about the higher and the lower level of AI. So to break this down in simpleton terms is what I'll call it. Basically, the higher level AI, and Thomas, correct me if I'm incorrect. The higher level AI is basically, controlling the pressure sensors and how much pressure you can have on that glass and on the egg before breaking it. And then the lower level AI would be moving the arm to the specific place in order to pick it up.
I would say both is the lower level AI. The higher level AI would be more like pick up that egg, give it to hold it to that position. The stuff you do without thinking, that's the lower level AI. It's basically a controller for the body. The higher level is the conscious stuff. Remember that these robots actually can talk, and you can talk to them.
And
they actually run,
and they have a full-on conversation.
Audio version on it. And this conscious level is obviously slower than you need for the motor control and for like keeping balance, training the legs to properly work, reacting to movements in the upper body by stabilizing it by moving a foot. That's lower level stuff you do without thinking.
Okay. Yeah, because I was pretty intrigued because in the next video that you guys are going to see, it's part of the Tesla robot, and a lot of what they talked about in that article was the fact that it was very gentle, even with bolts and capacitors and stuff like that you don't really need to be gentle with. Now, Tesla does have a little bit more advancement in the Neo as far as the range of mobility, but but I did point out in one of our videos that it was it was lacking in I guess you would say autonomous experience, because right now they are completely controlled by bodysuits and controllers. They're not controlled too much autonomously. I believe that Elon Musk is currently still hiring to this day of the human robot trainers, which will wear the VR headsets and have the risks of VR sickness and so on and so forth that we talked about last week.
We
Yeah,
have
yeah.
seen videos of the Optimus running autonomously. What you refer to is mostly because most of the videos are either demonstrating hardware pre-training, so they have it remote controlled, or they're actually showing the training rooms and actual progress in training. But supposedly there are already Optimuses operating autonomously in the factories. Very few ones, and we don't know what they do.
Yeah, so Elon Musk did state that there are a few robots that are currently working autonomously, but there are certain tasks that they have not released yet that are still in the training rooms. So that would be something like, what we saw in that last video where they were picking up and organizing bolts and capacitors for the Tesla vehicles.
Okay, you want me to play that video?
Yeah.
I mean, our audience probably they saw it already if they watched that video, but if they hadn't seen it, I guess you want me to play it?
Yeah, because I'm going to get Thomas's view on a couple of different things within the video.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see here. Let's go straight to it.
You've got to see this because these Tesla Optimus robots just keep getting better. The video that we're watching now was released just yesterday, and it shows the robot utilizing its neural network in order to execute basic factory tasks like sorting these Tesla 4680 battery cells and even fixing its own mistakes when and if it makes any. The company also noted in the video that the robots are already being tested at one of their factories, and that human intervention is continuing to decrease over time. In the video, Tesla also shared footage of Optimus walking around the Tesla offices, saying that the robot can now walk further than ever before, and it's doing all of these things by utilizing just cameras, hand tactile sensors, and force sensors in order to collect the data that it needs from its surroundings. Now, I always like to remind people that what we're seeing right now today with the robots, or whether it's AI, this is the worst that these things will ever be. They will only get better and more capable over time. And I really think in 10 years, it's going to feel a lot like iRobot around here. But let me know what you guys think.
What do you think, Thomas? 10 years is a good number, or is it a lot sooner than that? 2? Oh, my God.
They say that robots now are about 20% as efficient as humans, and there's the prognosis that they will break through 100% within 2 years. You do not understand the insanity of the exponential curve here. That being said, it's going to take a long time to build all the robots because robots can't multitask. If I have an AI server, it can operate for 100 people at the same time, and it doesn't have a problem making a task for someone in New York now and then someone in Hong Kong next millisecond. A robot serving dishes cannot do something else while it's holding the dishes. So we're going to need billions of robots. There's a prognosis that by 2040, we will have 10 billion robots on the planet.
You said 2040?
Yes. If you think that's insane, there's the same prognosis that by 2060, humanity will control 100 billion robots.
Rise of Skynet. No.
Most of them not on Earth, because robots open us for mining asteroid belts and stuff like that.
You said
So the
2060.
insanity is starting. The robotics is already there. You could take a Tesla as it is now, run it into mass production. You wouldn't have a problem. The problem is the AI.
The AI is currently limited to the.
No one built humanoid robots 10 years ago. We could have done it, but you basically get a body without a brain.
Yep. Because
so
you're
the brain suddenly says, wow, we can do it. Let's do it. And the brain is the problem. But the brain is also the stuff where we make ridiculous progress in training.
Yep.
Like when you see it like with the people with remote control showing the robot a task, there's a software out now from NVIDIA which takes that, makes a 3D version of it, and makes 10,000 variations of it. Different things, the different position on the shelves, So the robot has to generalize to learn it. This is not going to take 5 years. It's not going to take 10 years. I expect, I don't know, did any one of you remember Windows 95 release?
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
That was an insane. People were 5 times around were blocked to buy it. Robots will be worse. You will have the biggest waiting lists ever. You need to understand that the One X Neo is supposed to cost $8,000, with Tesla Optimus supposedly between $10,000 and $20,000. Figure it out how much it means per month leasing. It's insane. You're talking of having a 24/7 robot, including electricity, probably for below $350.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very affordable for most households too. And that's the crazy thing is that's why I said when it comes to the like my thought of Amazon purchasing it, because who wouldn't want to capitalize on a consumer level of robotics? And I mean, Amazon has been very well known to do this. There's already a robot that is called the Alexa Guard, I think it is, that rolls around your house. So Amazon would be stupid to not want to invest in something like this to give it the consumer side or the consumer experience, because like I told you before, a lot of what we have given or been given access to, like even Google Gemini, for example, we've been given free access to Google Gemini. 3 to 5 years from now, it'll be a subscription. So and basically they use that as like a data pool. What do people use it for? How can they train it? And what are the inquiries that they're putting through it? Because it's going to continue to grow the knowledge bank. Look at ChatGPT. Originally, ChatGPT 3.0 was a free it was a free service, and then you had to, I know me and Thomas kind of dove into it a little bit. We had to buy tokens for a little bit, and then 4.5 came out, and 3 is now free, but you get limited capabilities. So like there's so much there where they basically give it out for free at first, and then they turn it into a subscription. And even Amazon Alexa has considered becoming a monthly subscriptible service. So I could only imagine what they would do with this robot. Like, oh yeah, we'll give it to you for the first 3 years for free, but if you wanted to unload your dishwasher, you got to pay $5 a month.
I actually think you're not thinking it through to the end. AI and robotics are going to destroy the job market.
Oh yeah.
I was just thinking about that before you finish, Thomas. Before you finish, while Josh was speaking, I was thinking about, well, is this the replacement? Because we speak about gig work here, right, on this channel, and we in Dubai, do they have like rideshare or any type of gigs going on with people deliver?
We have a local version, Kareem. I get deliveries from online shops basically on a daily basis. I haven't been in a shop for ages.
Okay, so do you feel, when relating it to gig work, right? Do you feel this type of technology within maybe like the next 2 to 5 years can replace that worker that would do that delivery for you and have the robot do it?
Waymo, well, delivery is a problem unless you live in your own house, because you still need to get it like to your apartment or something, but the whole structure will change. But look at, for example, Uber. Waymo does 100,000 autonomous rides at the moment per week. They have multiple non-human, fully autonomous taxi companies already competing in China. This will wipe the gig economy out. Now, if you ask, for example, delivery driver, I personally think, like, I live in a small apartment house. We have like 60 apartments here, permanent security, everything. I think that basically at one point the rent will go up, and we will have access to a timeshare of robots here, which then, for example, can go to the car, pick up the good, and bring it to the apartment. You know, the whole world is going to change. The gig economy as we know it now will be wiped out. Look, what's the minimum wage in America right now?
Well, what's the national?
It's going up to 15 over
That's
the
what I
next
was thinking.
5 years.
How do you compete with $300 a month?
Oh my gosh.
You know, at the end, it's if a robot can do it, the human is out.
Yeah,
Have you seen Wall-E?
Yeah.
Is that what is going to be?
No.
Okay,
What
thank
it's
you.
going to be is a mixture between where it's going to end up, and that's the best case, is basically the culture from Ian Banks. What is going to be, look, and before, just as a start of it, I'm a diehard capitalist, okay? Capitalism is over. What is the fundamental, the first foundation of capitalism?
That would probably be the monopolization.
No, human labor has a value.
Oh.
If you're not able to earn money by working, capitalism is over.
Okay.
Because if no one employs you, you're not going to earn money, period. And
But
you're
it's
not
going to
competing.
Wouldn't that destroy the monetary value as well?
Not necessarily. What it would destroy is, what it would require is us to move to basically a economy where the output of companies is taxed, and then basically you have handouts from the government.
So more of a social, like and I hate to say it like this.
It's socialism, it's communism if you want, but there's no alternative.
Yeah, I hate saying it like that because a bunch of people will jump in the comment section and be like, "No, you're pushing the wrong thing." But
But here, look, there are two fundamental problems with communism in the concept. One, humans need motivation to work. You remove the motivation, they are not really willing to put in the work. Doesn't fucking matter when the economy runs on automatic. Two, 5-year plans. That was like an implementation detail of the socialism. That's the dumbest idea ever the Soviets had. I mean, you ask any manager today, how are you going to plan your company production in 5 years? He says, are you an idiot? You can't even foresee that for 6 months, not down to, okay, we make so many screws. But if you remove both of them, if you have like a capitalist set of AI conglomerate run companies competing to be as efficient as possible, but humans, there's no way for humans to earn money on a larger scale. There just isn't. And I hate it. I hate it myself, but the problem is I'm here involved with a lot of family offices. We fail to find an alternative. We discussed it for nearly a year now. The problem is if you remove the possibility for humans to take work, and it's going to be an attack on work in general. It's not the gig economy. You think doctors are good? Doctors are sucking compared to what AI can do now, and it's not even trained for it.
Yeah.
Universities will be empty. Why should anyone, or most people won't study? Why do you study years of hard work, debts in America? Let's take that out. Let's say they're free, but it's still years of hard work for nothing.
Then why push robotics and AI so much?
So Elon Musk had stated this. If you were to replace the human worker, it would basically I guess you would say dilute the worker ratio, which would then push us into socialism, which is why he did not want to do full autonomy in a lot of his warehouses yet at that point. And this was 3 years ago when he had this discussion. And it basically a lot of right now, the reason why there's such a large push is that we're already experiencing the fact that people don't want to work. Look at people in the gig economy. They don't
want to work. They're not capable of working, a lot of them. We have a problem with obesity, with the education system. We have a problem with the birth rates, which means you're not getting enough out. But let's look on a more global level. Now, without saying who is the good or the bad guy, there's a conflict between America and Russia, China. Whoever doesn't go full AI has a big disadvantage. Have fun. You're going to kill yourself.
Yep.
Okay.
Because the more you automate the economy, you're going. I've seen a prognosis which says that if we basically in 2060, everyone will be living the life of a billionaire now. Because suddenly the output of the economy doesn't depend on human factors anymore. Robots build more robots, put out more stuff.
See, and this is where it gets crazy to me, because conflict conflict and war and warfare, no matter how you want to phrase it, it's usually over materialistic items or resources, right? So that kind of brings up the question, will there be a warfare over chipsets? Because eventually chipsets will become, I mean, they were in shortage during COVID-19, but I just strongly feel like the last big warfare was over oil, and it was over religious beliefs. But think about it like this: we are going to be in the world's largest demand for chipsets, so it's going to be all out war over who can develop them, who can manufacture them, who can distribute them.
We already are. China is heavily sanctioned by the West. No export of high-level AI chips.
Yep.
What's the result of that? They are now about 2 years behind NVIDIA with new developments.
And
they're building their own chip factories, and they're ahead of us in a lot of research because they have more people harder working.
Yeah, and like I said, it's crazy to think, because when you think back, history is always doomed to repeat itself. So my thought process here is that there's going to be an all-out warfare over the fact that chipsets are going to be tariffed, taxed, banned, so on and so forth, because there's going to be chipsets that are far more advanced than what the industry currently wants. So it's going to be, warfare over technology. And it's not going to be your typical World War II where, you've got people rambling in the streets and killing each other. It's going to be a technological warfare like we've been seeing lately. Like, oh, we're going to hit we're going to hit your power grid. We're going to hit your social security network. We're going to hit your banking network. It's going to be things in which are going to take a massive effect on life as we currently know it versus killing a lot of people.
If you have no war, life is going to change. You said power grid.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little company which just got part of a $40 million tender by the Department of Defense. It's a little grant. You know what they have to do? Demonstrate a working fusion reactor 2027 in orbit.
Yep.
In orbit.
And it's insane to see how fast the technology is growing, which is why I wanted to bring you up, because on a lot of our videos, we lack the understanding of the timeline in which things are going to occur, right? And it's because based on the previous track record of development, we believe that the next innovation that will happen when it comes to technology is still 10 years out. And that's just because our brain has been trained to believe that, okay, well, the last innovation was 10 years and the one before that was 10 years. So we keep telling ourselves 5-year plans, 10-year plans, but that's, as you're saying, a thing of the past.
It's culminating. What is the biggest problem right now if I want to make an AI company? Let's say $10 million. How do I get going fast?
They would be the GPUs that you would need to purchase first, the GPUs and processing.
No, I can rent them. Humans. Where do I get the researchers from? When Elon Musk started, he handed out $100 million stock packages to get people from Anthropics and OpenAI. A couple of days ago, they showed the first AI cluster doing AI research fully autonomously. Now, it's not really good, but it can actually do the full research, validate theory it comes up with, out. If the moment we have the next or the generation after that, look, people in AI labs think that in 3 to 5 years they lose their jobs and AI takes over. The moment AI can do AI research, there is no human bottleneck anymore. There are supposedly around 80,000 top-level researchers on this planet. The moment AI is capable of doing research, I can just instantiate 80,000 copies overnight if I have the money.
Yeah,
now, I have a human question. Okay?
Yeah, sure.
I have a human question. Okay. I'm listening to everything that's being said here, and it is blowing my mind. Okay, Thomas, a lot of what you're saying is literally just it's really everything. Again, it's just blowing my mind. Now, I have one major concern here. I've heard you say it's going to be maybe about $8,000 for a robot, right?
Yeah.
I've also heard you say that it's going to wipe out jobs. Now, how would we, this is my human question, how would we as humans, if our jobs are going to be replaced, how would we as humans be able to make any kind of money if robots will completely take away our only way of making money?
Basically, we need to tax the production side and distribute it.
So we're going to be living for free, as you said, I think like billionaires. We don't have to do anything and we're making money and the robots are doing everything?
You basically get universal income from the government. Whether everyone gets the same, there's a score system, that's all implementation details, but there is no alternative. I mean, how do you look? There are still going to be jobs. There are certain jobs which are AI safe, but they're not relevant statistically.
You're a
Like
little bit
until
blurry.
I
Wave your hand in
know,
front of your camera. See what happens. Oh, there it is.
for example, until religions decide that a robot or an AI can be a priest, that's a job reserved for humans. Until humans are happy to cheer for their football team, which is made out of robots, that's a job for a human, and probably one which is not tuned. But statistically, we are looking at the elimination of jobs.
I
This
mean,
is the
it's already
reality.
it's already happening. I mean, look at me with Draver. Draver eliminated our position because they believed that they had built an AI algorithm that could do what we did, but none of us told them the amount of things that we were truly doing, which were, you know, say for example, we were doing a lot of like manual labor when it came to confirming trips and making sure things were deliverable. And I'll leave you guys with this: they eliminated all of our jobs, but then they had to hire a lot of people back. So
Yep.
obviously it wouldn't be long before they're fired again, because it's that now they know the target development that they need to develop. But we tried to delay it as much as possible as humans, but there's no way to truly delay it, because once they feel they've gotten to that point, all they have to do is run the AI, get their fail group, and then that's their development point for their next segment.
And you have another thing that was put in. The guy said it for the Tesla robot. That's the worst it ever will be. Yes, but for AI, it's also the most expensive it ever will be.
Yep.
AI
It's
inference costs are coming down 90% per year at the moment. And that's cumulative. There is no competition.
Yep.
And on that note, I feel this conversation, I would love, absolutely love to spend another 3 hours talking to you, Thomas. I would love, because as much as I don't know about how everything works in technology and AI and all that, it seems like you have so much knowledge, and I'm always willing to learn as much as possible about
So
everything. Like,
that's a topic. I'm glad to join you again.
please, I was just about to ask you, would you mind coming back? Because
No,
this, I'm getting goosebumps. You probably can't
you
see
know,
it, but
I have
I'm
to
getting
tell you the
goosebumps.
truth. I'm looking forward to that future, but I'm not looking forward to the next 5 years.
Okay.
It will be brutal. It will be
Yep.
brutal because if you look at most governments, they're reactive.
Okay.
There's no leadership which sits down and says, wow, we have to deal with mass unemployment and people knowing it's not temporary. Look, during COVID, there was mass unemployment in America, but everyone knew it's over. What do you think happens where the unemployment rate goes up every month, but the news is how robots take over the work? People know it's not going to come back.
Oh,
And this is
man.
not an attack. People, I had arguments with someone says, well, the car made more people being drivers. Yes, but here it's not a car as a tool. Here it's the elimination of intelligence in the work. Robots take over the one thing, the flexibility. There is no it. I mean, I totally look forward to the future. I mean, we could talk about the craziness we're going to see in the next 5 to 10 years if just half the stuff which is currently in development comes true. But the time in between will be insane.
And I can't wait to continue this conversation on another episode. But Thomas, we have reached the end of our time here. But you better believe it that I am going to be in communication with you, sir, because I do want to continue this conversation. Oh my gosh. I've learned a lot in a short, how long has this been? This has been a 50-minute episode so far. And fam, let us know how you feel about everything that you have heard so far. This is the least I have spoken in any episode. Okay. So I appreciate your time, Thomas. Josh, any last words?
No, I look forward to continuing the conversation with Thomas, and I think we're going to be tracking the progression of the Neo as well as the Optimus, I believe it was. So I think that it's going to be great to watch and to be able to cover with somebody that is so well versed in that industry.
And if you would love Thomas to come back, put some robots in the comment section. Okay, just robot emoji. Fill it up with some robot emojis. And Thomas, any last words for the audience regarding your knowledge and expertise in this area?
We live in the most crazy times ever seen in human history, and you better start reading good science fictions, because I like to say we're in the last words of a foreword of a very crazy science fiction saga. Right now it's still set up, but it takes maybe a year before we start chapter 1. And that's when the first robots are in households.
Yep.
Yeah. So with all that said, fam, drop those robots in the comments, and we'll see you in the next episode. Come on, Thomas. Put up the deuces.
Deuces.
Deuces. Oh, yeah. What time it is, D-Fam? It's time to go get your money.